All right, well, good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good.
Good. I don't know, Zach, we're about to find out in the next 5 or 10 minutes how I'm doing based on how this course is going to be run. How many of you have done Ignite before? Show of hands, please. Okay, we've got one. What's that? Pieces?
Yeah, I did that.
Kind of, sort of.
Towards the tail end of the 10th last year.
Okay, very good. Deb, you've done it how many times?
4.
Okay, how many times have I taught you the Ignites that you've done?
Well, not the whole.
Not the whole thing, but at least like a session or two?
Yeah.
So what can you tell us a little bit about Ignite or your experience in the program, Deb?
Well, I like the accountability.
Okay. You just freaked a lot of people out when you said that.
Oh, sorry. And every time I come, I go away with something. That I learn something every time because I'm in a different place
Sure.
than I was the first time I took it.
Absolutely.
And I like the revised new
Sure.
course.
Okay. So I'll give you a little bit of context on Ignite. Ignite used to be a 4-week program that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right, Deb? It was 5 days in a row for like 4 weeks. And I think somebody finally realized, holy crap, these people at Ignite, their businesses are starting to take off and they actually need some time to do business, right? So they revamped the program and now it's Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays you have completely to yourselves to either go complete a lot of the activities we talk about in Ignite or just go out there and do actual business and be with clients and such. I've actually condensed this and I've shortened it. Usually Ignite's probably the better part of half of a day. And I'm trying to condense it so that people can get here that need to travel here and can get back to where they need to be. And also because I really want you guys not to just take this next 4 weeks and be professional students. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that just go to a course and that's their day. Well, I want you guys hopefully to understand that you come here, you learn the content, you do the activities, and then you go put them into practice immediately, right? Like today you can leave and do some of the stuff we talked about. So it's very much an active course. It's not just learning based. It's learning based plus we want you to get out and get into action. Today, this morning session, the first session is going to be a lot of talk about goals. It's going to be a lot of talk about mindset. And then you're going to see the sessions that follow are going to be much more focused on different components of your business. Your database, sourcing business, open houses, working with buyers, working with listings, FSBOs, expireds, and stuff like that. So this morning, we're going to kind of talk about the program as a whole and give you a little bit of an overview. We'll talk about goals and mindset, and it's going to set us up for the next few weeks in all the preceding sessions and how we're going to attack those. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Okay, if you look in your binder, you've got a few handouts. One of them should kind of maybe look like this, unless this is one that's pull this one out here. Yep. This is what I'm looking for. It's got, it says mission 1 on the first page, and basically it's got 2, 3, and all the rest of mine, right? Think of that as sort of like your checklist. As you progress from session to session, those check boxes, those are the things we're wanting you to accomplish or to do on a continual basis, all right? So don't worry about if it says you're already supposed to have something done. Don't worry about it. You can take today and tomorrow to do that or catch up a little bit. You're going to be just okay. But your KW user account should already be created. If you need help figuring out how to get into KW Connect, just see me on a break or see me after. I'll show you how to do that. So let's talk about a calendar real quick. How many of you guys already keep a calendar? Okay, very good. How many of you guys keep a hard copy calendar versus an online digital calendar? Okay, very good. How many of you guys are purely digital calendar? Okay, cool. I'm like a hybrid, right? And I found out it's actually very dangerous because I have all great intentions. I put it on my Google Calendar, I print it off, and then what starts happening? Things change. So then I keep a handwritten copy, and then I'll leave it at the office or something, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what my calendar is anymore because it's not in front of me, right? So we're gonna work on time blocking, and so all I'd say is if you have a calendaring system that you already utilize, great, continue to use it. We're gonna probably try to hopefully take it to the next level. But whether it's hard copy or digital, whatever you do is completely fine. Do whatever best for you, because I'm the kind of a guy that likes to hand copy as well.
You know what's wrong with the digital ones? I have my part-time job calendar, I have my personal calendar,
Right.
I have calendar, and sometimes they don't
trying to sync them can
Yes.
be a chore, right? And if you're anything like me, you may have given your wife access to your calendar. Now all of a sudden stuff just starts popping up there. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So anyway, how many of you that use a digital calendar use the Google Calendar or a Google function? Okay. Anybody else do something different? Awesome. That's actually pretty good because with your KW email, through Gmail, if you use that calendar, it's actually pretty darn helpful. And you can share it with people and stuff like that. So, okay. For the future sessions, if you want to bring little note cards, that will be helpful because some of what we do are getting into the habit of writing thank yous. Has anybody received a handwritten thank you in recent memory? Okay, how did that make you feel?
Awesome.
Who did it come from?
You.
That was from me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it about?
Huh?
What was it about?
Just saying how great I am.
Come on, Deb. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. How about you?
I
gotta write everybody else in your head.
Feeling pretty inadequate.
Right, yeah. Who
not
do you
from you. I got one from gal I did business with.
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Give me our money.
Very good. I would write you a thank you for that as well.
I got one from Kelly.
Did you really?
Yeah.
She strikes me as a pretty thoughtful person.
She's very thoughtful.
And the cool thing about handwritten notes, or a note in general, is people remember it strengthens the relationship, hands down. So we're going to get back into the habit of that and just doing it, making it part of your business, because you can time block every week to do some notes, right? Whether it's past clients, current clients, people that you want to win the business of, things like that. So again, it talks about checking out Ignite on kwconnect.com. We'll talk about that later. There's some introductory videos between today and tomorrow, or just this week at some time. If you can find the time to watch these videos, you'll find it to be very helpful, especially those of you who've never taken this before, and especially if you're kind of new to Keller Williams as well. It's going to give you a lot of background to our company. You're going to learn some of our lingo. When I talk about the Y4C2Ts and stuff like that, you actually know what I'm talking about, and I think that I had a little bit too much to drink, and I'm slurring my words. So there's a lot of great videos to watch there. And then get to know your market center. If you haven't had an orientation or any of the things down there, let us know. Between myself and Katie, we'll make that happen for you. But chances are you've already come in and sat down with at least her or Mel and learned about the back end of KW Connect and some of your website type stuff. Okay, let's look on the back page of that. So look at this thing. You guys have that in yours? Perfect. So this is our roadmap for the next few weeks. Monday, Ignite Your Business. That's session 1. We're doing that. Tuesday is a mission day. That's when you're going to be making your contacts, etc. Wednesday, the session is Build Your Business. It's going to be sourcing your business. Thursday, it's another mission day. And then Friday is finding your business as well. So we're going to source and plan our database on Wednesday, and then Friday we're going to source our business. And then the weekend is a mission opportunity. The next Monday will be Waiting with Sellers. Then we're going to talk about price to sell that Wednesday. That Friday, selling your listing. Jumping to the next week, it's going to be focused on winning the buyer, finding and showing homes on Wednesday. And that Friday, make and receive offers. And then the last Monday, negotiating the deal. That Wednesday, closing the deal. And then 12, really just kind of setting you up to then launch and launch into your business. Speaking of that, as we end Ignite, there's a week break before the first step to Bold comes, all right? This is not a pressure sales pitch for Bold right now, but I'm just curious, how many of you are planning to at least attend the first step to Bold, which is completely free? Okay, I just like took a mental snapshot of you guys. If it's okay, we will put you on the list for the first step to Bold. So that was, I think I've already got you on there. I'll put you on there. I'll put you on there. Put you on there. I think you're already on there. You've been talking. I'll put you on there as well. And then we can talk later. Do any of you already know right now that you're planning to do the whole thing, the whole Bold? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So I'll make sure you guys are on it. No pressure, but we'll keep bringing it up. If that changes, just let us know. But this is going to be a great segue between laying a solid foundation in Ignite, taking a breather for a week, and then looking at Bold. And the nice thing about Bold, the way they have it structured now, is you'll do that day 1, and if you do the whole thing, you have like another week or 2 break before the full thing kicks off. So now I'm telling you right now, our Bold coach is going to be good because, man, she's already coaching me. So it's going to be good stuff. All right, any other questions about kind of big picture what we're looking at over the next 4 weeks? I do have a question for you guys, and it's okay if the answer is no. I've had a couple people ask about if we would consider potentially doing it from 9 to 11 instead of 10 to noon. I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that. No big deal if we shoot that down, but if people are like, hey, that's fine, then just let me know. Would that be okay? Any different? Okay, maybe not.
9's a little tough for me.
9's a little tough? Okay. So, I'll think on that some more and I'll let you all know if we make a change, but, we'll see how that goes. Okay? All right, perfect. So, without further ado, let's start jumping into the first session. So you should all have your binders here. And it's a mix of old school, flipping through your course materials, and new school, going through PowerPoint. We're going to do a little bit of both. So before we jump into course 1, session 1, all this fun stuff, I would like to take a minute to go around the room, because some of you might not even know who each other are. Just give us your name, kind of what city you live in, and maybe which one of our offices you kind of work out of. And also, I want to know why you got into real estate, and then what you're hoping to get out of this course. Or what are you hoping to get out of Ignite? So Melissa, can we start with you?
Yes, can you remind me the question?
Sure thing. Your name?
My name is Melissa Gregg.
Boom.
I live in Rochester. I office the Rochester Market Center here.
Why you got into real estate?
I got into real estate because I had been doing enough real estate business that it didn't make sense to be another agent anymore.
Yep. And on the investment side, right?
Yeah, we do live-in flips, the like 2-year tax-free move.
She's really fun to watch on Facebook. Just see all the projects we're doing.
We have projects. Oh yes, we have projects. And then we bought an apartment. We sold it because we didn't like doing the apartment thing. We had a vacation condo that was in foreclosure that we ended up flipping and enjoying for a while. And yeah, just like my husband was like, in the last year we did $1 million worth of real estate transactions. Imagine if we got the commission on that. And like, it was just one of those things that we were always going to do someday. One of us was going to get our license. I got my license.
You drew the short straw.
In November, no, I got bored at work. I got bored at work, so I went and got my license, and I started in November 2015. And I had a great year last year, and said, forget this, I was bored at work anyway, let's quit that job. And so part of doing Ignite now is because I'm full-time, and I didn't have a chance to do that when I first started, and just check it out.
Awesome. So what are you hoping to get out of that?
A stronger business.
Outstanding. Very good. Your turn.
I'm Christine Hint. I live in Spring Valley, but I worked at Mayo Clinic for 23 years, so I'm trying to focus in the Rochester area more than Spring Valley, Grand Meadow area, whatever. What was the next question? Office here.
Yep.
What else?
What brought you into real estate, and then what are you hoping to get out of
I
that?
too was bored with my job.
Okay.
I had many management positions at Mayo and felt like there was really no place else to go, and things were changing there, and real estate is something that I've always been passionate about. I like the redoing, the remodeling, and I love all that stuff. I'm in the middle of doing an apartment right now myself. And
What are you wanting to get out of Ignite?
and I'm still working a part-time job just because I'm afraid to jump the boat, because I like having that medical insurance, and I have 6 kids, so it's
Comes in handy.
a necessity, huh?
I said it comes in handy.
It comes in handy, so once I get over this, once I can build a strong enough business, then I'll have the courage to jump the boat. And it's a really boring job too, so I can do a lot of real estate stuff from it. I do. It's a property management position, brand new apartment complex.
I say it's kind of related to real estate a little bit.
It's brand new apartment complex. It's like 2 years old, and it's for seniors. So there's 40 units. So it's really not.
Like you're a little wild over there.
It's really boring.
Sounds good. Yeah. So building some momentum would be something that would be good.
Definitely, yeah.
How about you, sir?
My name is Jamie Ohm. I work out of the Rochester office here. I've been in real estate. I'm actually going into my second year now. Very good. And why I got into real estate was I started off in sales of water softeners way back 15, 20 years ago.
Great. So if anybody has any water softener questions, they know who to call.
I know quite a bit about it. Yeah.
Good.
So, and then
I just funneled that away in my head, so just so you know. The next inspection report, you're getting a phone call.
then I got into roofing sales about 10 years ago, and I
You're digging yourself a deeper hole.
Do a lot of door-to-door with roofing sales, and I got to a point where people kept telling me, like, it's not every single home, but every so often somebody would say, well, we're gonna be selling your house. So it's like, I'm thinking, why don't I just get a license to fit that right into what I'm already doing? And I wanted to be in real estate down the road eventually anyway. So my goal is to be full-time at some point. I'm getting there. Part of what I intend on getting out of the class is just to keep compiling more and more knowledge.
Okay.
And, keep me on the right track. And just learning how the whole real estate process goes. Eventually I can just, hopefully click at some point, and I'll just be working full-time real estate and everything else kind of just on the side or extra.
Sure, awesome. That explains why Tim tells me you're so good at door knocking. How about you, ma'am?
My name is Joe
So I'm a Wisconsin broker, by the way, for those of you that haven't been.
And I'm lacrosse office. I've been licensed in 2009. I started up actually with Twin Cities, which is a real fun time to start. And nobody could buy and nobody could afford to sell. I got into it because in my current job, I was told I helped people too much. So I thought I'd find a career where I could help people as much as I wanted to. So that's how I got into real estate. I had a friend who thought that I might be fit. So, and what I'm hoping for this class is just to get a kick in the pants and help me get to the next level.
Somebody write that down, kick and pan. Parentheses, not too hard. Next level. Okay, very good. Kelly?
Kelly Meyer, I'm from Caledonia, so I have my office in Caledonia. But,
You do a ton of your business is kind of in that area.
in that southeast Minnesota or northeast Iowa, kind of over there. But let's see, I've been in since 2006. What got me into it was just, I don't know, I just like looking at how I like working with people. It's challenging, but
Yeah, we've been emailing back and forth about a good one recently.
oh yeah, we've been a few of those, but a little stressful. But anyway, like why I took the class is maybe to get back to the basics. Like, I'm not a good time blocker.
Okay.
I'm like all over the place. Like, so I just want to get back to the basics of things and systems.
Very good. The basics, they're pretty good. They're a pretty solid foundation. That's you. Mr. Nick?
Good morning, Nicholas Mocha. I've been here since about July or so, so pretty new into the industry. I got into it mainly because I've loved real estate since I was 18, before that even. I've always loved it, but just never went out and got my license. But I went out and got myself some experience in the banking industry in the middle of selling a business that I owned for a little while. So now I'm going to be able to clear my calendar as much as I can with the 1 month that I take care of for. So
What's your name?
as much time as possible.
What's your name?
Kyla Grace Mocha.
Good building.
So getting into the real estate thing, I like the commercial side a lot. So if you have any commercial deals my way for and a free Vegas too. And other than that, I just really enjoy the buying property, selling property, the flip idea. I've done a few little things here and there, developing my own property. My favorite breakfast food is Reese's Cocoa Puffs.
So other than Reese's Cocoa Puffs every morning at Ignite, what are you hoping to get out of the course?
What am I hoping to get out of the course? So this is one of the things, I'll be vulnerable for a second. I hate having to go and be like, hey, so how do you use a lockbox? Or just some of the most basic things and having to like interrupt other people's business to get into that. So I thought that this would be going back to the basics and getting the basics. So yeah, that's what I'm going for, is getting the basics.
We might not get that in the
Well,
weeds,
that's true.
but you let me know and I'll answer that question. Miss Deb?
Hi, Deb Edlund, and you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I actually live in the Farmington and Hampton area.
I personally don't think it's that great.
Okay, yeah, I know you don't, because you go further than I do. But, so I'm wanting to expand my business down into Cannock Falls and Zumbrota.
I love Zach, so that's why I'm here. Yeah. But I was at the Burnsville office with Zach for a long time, and since they say that 2000. So originally, my son and I were invested in properties, flipped, and we have some holds, and so that was ignited the original interest in real estate.
See what you did there, Deb. Could use the word.
Ignited, yeah. So just wanted to take it similar. Why shouldn't I be getting, one of us be getting part of the commissions for what we're buying and selling? And so that was that. And what else did you?
What are you hoping to get out of this session?
So for me, I know I've taken it 4 times. I'll probably end up having to take it a whole bunch more because until I actually am disciplined in truly doing the 10 fours on a consistent basis, I'm going to keep coming.
Cool.
Because the class gets you into the 10 fours, and it's just basic discipline to grow your business.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Cole.
Cole Caswell, actually joined Keller Williams like a week ago. Came from We Saw You Save. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. I chose real estate just because I always knew I was going to find something in sales, but I also don't like pushy sales. Finding a home is more, you're more of a resource.
No, I'm just kidding.
What's that?
So that's what this whole course is about, being a pushy salesman. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, it's more of like helping people and not so much telling them how, just finding them a home or something. Out of the course, I kind of spent the first year just kind of taking things as they came and learning on the fly. So it'd be nice to have a little structure and systemize my approach here. Have something a little more solid. So that's what the goal is here.
I got to congratulate Deb. Over the weekend, she won out on multiple offers with her buyers, which is awesome. So anybody that has buyers right now and you're making offers, you know how tough it is to win right now. So nice work, Deb. Very good. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about our chapter overview. So we're going to discuss the missions, their importance, and how they're setting us up for success. So each session, we're going to have some missions to do prior to that session. That's going to kind of make that session that much more successful. We're going to discuss what's called the 6 personal perspectives today. So the 6 personal perspectives can be a class in and of itself. Today, we're just going to hit the highlights about them so you know what they are and you can kind of start wrapping your head around them and maybe implement some of them in your business. Wendy Papasan is going to be in the Twin Cities, I think in March. Deb, do you know off the top of your head? You said you're going, right?
Yeah.
Is it March? Or is it, I think it's March.
I think it's toward the end.
Okay, and I'll shoot that info out, but she's going to be teaching a class on the 6 personal perspectives. She's a highly successful agent out of Austin, Texas. Her husband, Jay Papasan, is a guy that co-authors a lot of the books with Gary Keller, so the guy knows a thing or two. So we'll push that info out to you. It's like a $10 donation to KW Cares if you want to attend that. Highly recommend. I've been to her training before. She's awesome. And she's not one of those agents where they're doing, volume way up here and that's where they live. They just live up here in their cloud of disconnection. They have no idea what it's like. No, she's good. She brings it back to real life. She talks about the struggles of being a realtor and then having a team and being a mom and all that fun stuff. So highly, highly recommend if you can set some time aside. That would be a great one to attend. I will be there. And so we'll love to see you there as well. We're going to talk about accountability and how critical it is. So just out of curiosity, when you hear the word accountability, what comes to mind?
Follow through.
Say again?
Follow through.
Follow through. Okay. What else? Come again?
Weight loss.
Weight loss. Okay. Okay. What else?
Being committed to your client. And doing,
Sure.
Taking care of them the right thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask it to you this way. Other than, before we have been introduced to real estate and some of the stuff we've learned along the way, do you think the word accountability had a negative or a positive connotation for most people?
Negative.
Probably a negative one, right?
Well,
Even now. What's that?
Negative for kids. Huh?
Yes, certainly for kids. Even now when we think about accountability, even as realtors or in our businesses, when we hear the word accountability, sometimes we go, "Ugh." Right? Accountability, I don't know. Some of us are like, hey, even though I kind of view it negatively, I know I need it. So let me ask you about another word. When you hear the word discipline, what comes to mind?
5K.
Huh?
Trying to run a 5K.
Trying to run a 5K schedule. What else? This is a really interesting word to run by kids, like you mentioned, right?
Stay focused on end results.
Right. When you're a kid, when you hear the word discipline, what does it mean? I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting put in timeout. Discipline. Unfortunately, the way that the word is kind of used in our upbringings, because we were all kids once, right? Discipline is kind of a negative thing. Oh, I don't want to be disciplined. Oh my gosh, I'm about to get disciplined. That's a bad thing. When in reality, some of the most highly successful people succeed because they're highly what? They're highly disciplined, right? If you take that word discipline and you flip your mindset and how you approach that word and you do it positively because you know of what the good it can do for you in your business and in your personal life, you realize, hey, discipline and accountability are two things that instead of running away from, I should be running toward. Because if I have a high level of accountability and discipline in my business, I guarantee I'm going to have some amazing results. Does that make some sense? Great. Okay. Then we're going to talk about the benefit and purpose of scripts. Okay. Now I'll address sometimes the question I get right away in the room is, oh, I don't want scripts. I don't want to seem scripted. Oh, scripts that seem so salesy. Memorizing the script that seems very manipulative, right? And here's what I'll tell you. I'm a huge proponent of scripts. I love them. Scripts have grown my business hands down. I think there's a huge difference between knowing and memorizing a script for the purpose of manipulating somebody and knowing and memorizing a script for the purpose of handling a natural objection. Or just here's another way to think of scripts. Being prepared to answer questions. That's a script. Being prepared to answer a question, a common question, a question you know you're more than likely going to get, right? And my take on scripts is this. We're going to give you some great ones throughout this course. And a lot of people out there, smarter people than me, will say to memorize them exactly, don't change them, and deliver them just like that. Okay? I'm going to tell you the opposite. Okay? This is being recorded, so I might get in trouble for that. But my opinion is take that script and make it you. It might need some subtle tweaks, whatever, what have you, but take the script, internalize it, play with it, and get it to a point that when you say it, it feels genuine, because it is, and it seems sincere because it is. If you can take the premise of a good script and make it you, it makes it way more easy to internalize, and then when you're delivering it or saying it, it comes off very genuine, very sincere, and in my opinion, will be more successful. Okay, so we'll talk about the importance of scripts, then we'll talk about our commitment to Ignite. So on page 7, I think we have the same page numbers, hopefully. You should see Welcome to Ignite towards the top. Is that on there? Awesome. You're embarking on a new, exciting, and challenging adventure and leaving your former life behind. Get your heart and head in the right place as we begin this adventure. So let's talk about getting your head in the game. If you do me a favor, there's a series of questions on that page. I want you to write your answers. I'll give you a few minutes and then we'll discuss them. I will be right back. It's okay. Appreciate it. Figure it out. Thank you.
Good range for coffee in here.
It's probably not a bad idea. I don't need you getting too hyped up though, Nick. Too crazy. Okay, let's push the pause button. Let's visit these questions real quick. So, the first one, I'm just gonna let you kind of mull over. I need to talk about that one in person. But let me ask you this one. What is the one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than others? And before we answer that question, I would like us all to take a minute and just understand that when we say a real estate agent is successful, I want everybody to know and understand that every single one of us has a different definition of success in real estate, right? I don't want anybody here to feel pressured that, hey, you have to do a certain amount of business or a certain amount of transactions, otherwise you're not a success, right? That's not what I'm trying to communicate to you. What I'm trying to communicate to you is if you want to achieve your goals, whatever your goals are, that means success for you. We're here to help you get there. And there are certain things that agents do that have a track record of achieving their goals or finding success, whatever that happens to be, okay? So maybe one way to rephrase that question would be, what's one thing that agents do who consistently achieve their goals? What's one thing they do that allows them to do so consistently? So what are some thoughts on that? Nick?
I said organization with follow through.
Okay.
I know it's kind of two things, but.
No, it's good because organization or time blocking can actually help with your follow through. I'll be the first one to tell you that I still struggle with this. Follow through is my weakness. Absolutely, hands down, my weakness. I can do a great job, or I've done a great job meeting people, finding potential prospects for business buyers and sellers, etc. And then I'm so busy doing other things, or I tell myself I'm so busy doing other things that the follow-up isn't as consistent as it should be, right? Or it only happens once or twice, then they fall off the wayside because I'm so focused on trying to turn over that immediate business that sometimes that 5 to 6 to 7 month business, I subconsciously just put on the back burner because I'm focused on the low-hanging fruit, even though it might be a way higher payout, right? So follow-through is absolutely critical. What are some other things?
I think as a new real estate agent in Rochester especially, I see it as more of there are individuals out there already that are so recognized.
Sure.
I mean, that's like I know realtors that I've never met, Sean Briska, whatever his name is. I know he's a realtor and I know that he sells high-dollar homes and I know that he's very successful. And I mean, you know, so not having that recognition is the hard part of getting. I don't think I'd have a hard, you know, I don't have a hard time selling houses.
So let me ask you one question that takes that deeper. What do you think Sean has done to become that successful?
I don't know.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. Other things. Because it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight. And any one of us can be that guy in Rochester. Any one of us, right? As a matter of fact, you'll find that the general public likes options, right? So other thoughts on this question?
What you're talking about?
Just in general, based on our discussion.
What is the one thing that makes real estate agents successful?
Yep.
I put honesty not only with their client, but also their family. Everyone else around them.
Outstanding. To sum it up, having some integrity, right? That's huge. I think so. It's big for your reputation. So I'm going to sum up all great answers. A very powerful answer to this question is to lead generate daily, right? It's not the sexiest answer. It's not the most exciting answer. Quite frankly, it's an answer probably maybe roll our eyes at sometimes. Oh, okay, I got it. But honestly, Sean became Sean because the dude, at least at some point in his career, was lead generating on a consistent basis. and he built enough momentum and enough of a client base that now he's got a sustainable business, right? So lead generate daily, and to add to what Nick said, if you're gonna lead generate daily, you're almost doing yourself a disservice if you then don't also follow it up with the follow through that you need, right? Okay, why don't all agents do this? Why don't all agents lead generate daily?
Because you run out of, like, that's what I struggle with right now is
Sure.
finding people to call or talk to or finding potential prospects.
Very good. We don't, maybe we're struggling with finding great sources for our business. Who can we talk to? What are some other things?
Put down drive and accountability.
Sure.
And then money, skills, time. Maybe you just don't have the skills.
Great.
Networking and that for your job.
Awesome. So so skills is a good answer, and that's why this course exists, to help you build those kind of skills. Time is a good one. Other things.
There are lots of distractions.
Lots of distractions. Like what?
Emails.
Emails. Absolutely. Social media.
Yep.
Are there good distractions sometimes?
Family.
Yeah. So you got family. I've got a little one at home. Good Lord, she's a distraction. A good one. I'm telling you right now, I'm in the Army, and there's nothing in my life that's exhausted me more than that little girl. You know what I mean? She never stops. She never stops. And just when you think she's going to, she's at it again. So, yeah, my days of sitting down for more than 1 minute at a time are probably gone. But that's okay because she's awesome. It's hard. Maybe we're not disciplined. Like you said, Nick, maybe we need to build that skill set. But sometimes, and I would think there's some people out there that this might be their approach to business, and no judgment for me, but some just think it's not important. Hey man, that's cool, but I'm just, the way I run my business, I do not lead generate daily. I say, that's cool. Like if you're a marketing person and you're marketing or whatever it is that you choose to do, that's completely fine, so long as it's getting you the results that you want to see in your business. And if you're not seeing the results that you want to see in your business, well, the one surefire way I know how to solve that problem and to get you those results is for you to lead generate daily. Right? About how many leads or how many conversations do we kind of say you should try to have on a daily basis?
Face-to-face or just
Conversations. Contacts. Some sort of conversation. 20. Okay. Where does the number 20 come from?
I learned from a book I read, Tom Hopkins.
Okay, cool.
It's 20 contacts for every, well, he says it is 20 contacts, you should get one sale. Type of thing.
He must have taken Bold. We usually get the number 20 from Bold because the Bold did tell you to do 20 contacts a day. 20 contacts. Or you book, wherever you get it from is fine. But the reason why they say 20 is because they've done stuff that I have no time to do. Is they've gone back, they've done the studies, they've looked at the numbers, and they say, hey, if you consistently do 20 contacts a day, you're going to blow it up in terms of the number of transactions that you do. Okay, last question. Is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? And I'm assuming that a lot of you said yes, right? And here's what they're trying to say to you in a fancy roundabout way. They're trying to say, hey, if lead generating is not your thing, because for whatever reason you prefer not to do it, like you have fear of doing it, it's just not fun, it's not pleasant, et cetera, but basically say, hey, would you rather make it in real estate by lead generating, or would you rather fail in real estate by not lead generating? That makes sense? When you put it that way, it's kind of a no-brainer question to answer, right? So, all right, any questions, thoughts on any of that?
So Zach,
Yes.
for me,
Yes.
lead generation was not, I was intimidated maybe by the term.
Absolutely.
So, another coach that I work with talked to me,
Grab a binder.
talked to us about changing, so I changed my mindset by calling it appointment setting time,
Okay, cool.
because that, to me, that's what I'm trying to do, set appointments.
Absolutely.
And I just didn't want to think of my clients or potential customers as leads.
Yeah. But Deb, I appreciate you sharing that, because I'll share a personal story with you as well, because that runs me to lead generation, because here's the deal. I am formerly of Edina Realty, right? Which means when I got into business, nobody taught me it was about lead generating. I just thought I showed up. I'm with you, Jen, real estate. Business is gonna come to me. Look at her. No, it's not. Long story short, it's not. Or maybe I'll hold some open houses, see what happens. I mean, surely I'm a nice enough dude. I don't look scary. People are gonna wanna work with me, right? Right? No. So I did not come up in the lead generation culture that if you're brought up in Keller Williams, you're brought up in. So sometimes you don't know any better when you're in Keller Williams. You have not had the opportunity to form lazy bad habits, right? I unfortunately had that great opportunity, and man, do I like those lazy bad habits compared to actually working, aka lead generation. So what I had to tell myself, Deb, was something similar to what you just described. One day it finally dawned on me, if not me, then who? If not me, then who? The people I know, the people out there, the general public, etc., any of these potential leads, well, they're going to be served by somebody. Some agent somewhere, somehow, is going to be put in touch with these people, whether it's an open house, an online lead, a referral, etc. Some agent is going to end up helping these people. Well, here's what I know about myself. If they work with me, they're going to get phenomenal customer service. They're going to work with someone that has integrity. They're going to work with somebody that truly has their best interest at heart. If they don't work with me, I don't know if they're going to get any of that stuff. Right? Is that an extreme? Absolutely. Are there a ton of great agents out there? You better believe it. Are there some bad ones? I think we all probably just pictured somebody. When I said that, hopefully you heard a picture of me. But in reality, that's how I frame it. I need to get out there and help as many people as possible because I know if I'm the one helping them, they're gonna be well taken care of. If I just leave them up for whoever happens to get in there and snatch them up, man, I feel like I did those people a disservice, right? I didn't fight hard enough to make sure that they're well taken care of. So I appreciate you sharing that, Deb, because when we talk about lead generation, a lot of times we get in the habit of, we're just talking about numbers, checking the blocks, Joe Smith, John, whoever, they are who they are. No, each one of these leads or prospects is an opportunity for us to insert ourselves into their real estate transaction to make sure it's the best one they have, best taken care of that we can possibly do. So I appreciate you sharing that, Deb. Because here's the deal. If you're not lead generating, somebody else is, right? So somebody's going to give it. It might as well be you for multiple reasons. Number one, it's going to grow your business. Number two, you can make sure they're going to be well taken care of. Questions, thoughts on that?
Kind of saying it similar to that I learned a long time ago was that if you're not living your dream, somebody else will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You better believe it. I had so this, not to get too dark, but this is, when I was at basic training many years ago, and, staying in shape and doing everything you need to do physically, I mean, that can suck, right? Like, oh man, I have to get up and go for a run or whatever. Well, I had a drill sergeant one day tell us, he said, here's the deal, guys. Every single day, somebody is out there training to face you on the battlefield. You can't really afford to take any days off. You know what I mean? If you decide, I'm not going to work out today or this week or 2 weeks or for a month, there's other people out there training to face you on the battlefield. So if you take a month off and you face them on the battlefield and they didn't, how's that going to go for you? I was kind of like, roger that. I see what you're saying. So I kind of apply that same mentality, man. And if I can't afford to let up on the pedal because if I do, I'm going to get passed up, right? Okay, let's flip to page 8. You're in business. There's one thing that can propel you forward in your career. What is that? Well, the secret is simple. It's not a secret. It's lead generation. Okay. That's what you're in the business of. And this for me was a hard shift in my mind when they would say, you're in the business of lead generation. It's all about lead generation. I was like, well, no, dude. I'm in the business of selling real estate, right? That's my job. I'm a real estate agent. That's what I do. But then I realized, honestly, there are a lot of professions out there. They're in a certain industry, but their job is the same as mine. It's lead generation. What are those industries? One's real estate. What else?
Almost everything.
Almost one's lending, insurance.
My husband's a funeral director. He's,
Right.
pre-needs all the time.
Absolutely. People that need new roofs. Right. What were you doing when you were out door knocking, Jamie? For your roofing for the roofing company, what were you doing?
Well,
You were lead generating.
Yeah.
right?
It's like-
I'm gonna try to help you out there, guys, sorry. But honestly, like, that's what everybody's doing, right? When you get a Sears catalog in the mail, what are they doing? Everything, every company, every successful company in every industry, their focus is lead gen. They're just selling something different than you are, right? We happen to be selling our services, or not selling properties, we're selling our services, our expertise, our knowledge in the real estate industry to people that want to partake, that want us to take a supplement offer, right? So you have to envision it that way, because to me, that was a game changer, because I was all high and mighty. Oh, I'm not in the business of lead generating, please, I help people, right? I'm not selling anything, right? No, dude, you're in the business of lead generating. That's your job. That's what every other business is doing, regardless of the industry. How many of you guys have been to college? Okay, cool. How did you end up at the college that you ended up at? Huh? A girl? You did a good job lead generating. Yeah. Anybody else? How did you end up at your particular college? It was cheap. It was cheap. Okay. Anything else?
I want to know more about business.
Say it again.
Want to know more about business.
Want to know more about business? Okay. Did any of you guys, when you were in high school or at some sort of college fair, did any of the college reps come and then tell you about their college? What are they doing? They're lead generating. They want your tuition dollars, right? I'm sure they have a great product and a great institution, and their business degree and all that is awesome. It's the best in the world, right? But they're lead generating. But we don't think of it that way, right? But I guarantee you that's what they're doing. And they've got a certain amount of numbers they have to meet on a regular basis in terms of people that are submitting applications, getting it. It's the same thing. Only what's the difference between them and us? Usually they have some degrees of accountability built in because they have a boss or something. Well, I don't know about you, Cole, or you, Nick, or you, Sean. Or any of you guys have a boss?
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe I need to get her here tonight. But that's honestly the biggest difference between us and a lot of other people that are out there lead generating for companies. When you were doing it for your roofing company, Jamie, how often were they asking you about your numbers?
Okay, really.
Yeah. Did you have a quota you had to meet?
In the beginning, yeah, but eventually they just kind of let me know. They trusted me enough to know that I didn't need somebody watching over me.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest difference between us and real estate is we don't necessarily have somebody that's constantly checking in with us, right? Say, hey, did you meet your numbers or are you going to get fired? Right? Because that's not how we roll. It's not what we do. You're an independent contractor, right? So you either need to become so good that you're doing that for yourself, or you hire or employ a mechanism that's helping you with that accountability, right? And me personally, I ended up getting a coach, right? This is not a commercial for get a coach right there. It's an investment. Don't do it till you're ready. Some people don't need them because they're so good at having accountability. But my coach, man, she was on me about numbers weekly, and I hired a coach, and that year my business doubled because she focused. She made me focus on my numbers, and she held me accountable. I started signing more buyer rep contracts than I ever had in my career. Because every week I knew Jody was going to ask me, how many did you sign? And if I said no, she was going to scare me a little bit, right? So that's what, and she lives all the way in LA, man. I'm still scared. So that's one way in which you can factor accountability into your business. Another way is using these tools on KW Connect that, when you read your materials and do your missions, you'll see that you can keep track of your daily goals. Are you making your leads and kind of hold yourself accountable for that tracking system. Okay. Mindset matters. You have to change your mindset to focus on being of service. I mean, I would almost highlight and star that. I think that's huge. That gets back to the conversation we just had about lead generation versus helping others. If it's about how many people can I serve, how many people can I help, if you think about it that way, at least for me, it makes it a lot easier for me to pick up the phone and make that next phone call, right? Because I know, if I talk to 20 people, I might get a couple that are kind of mean or rude, right, depending upon what I'm using for my lead generation sources. But at the end of the day, I know I'm probably get one or two that I'm going to be able to help, right? So think about it that way. Adopting a mindset and a philosophy of contributing to the lives of other people allows you to be direct and to the point in your action with others. With a focus on contribution and being of service, you'll communicate more effectively with customers and win their hearts and minds effortlessly. All right, I'm just way more motivated when I know, kind of like Joe mentioned before, she's like, I don't want to limit on how much I can help someone, right? Lead generation is about how many people can I find today that I can help. And oh, by the way, thankfully in our profession, because we happen to be pretty knowledgeable and because we're experts in our field, we get compensated pretty handsomely for it. Would you agree? Absolutely. All right, let's switch to page 9 and talk a little bit about the 6 personal perspectives. I like this quote from John Davis that says, you chose Keller Williams as a vehicle to reach your goals. Ignite helps you build the momentum to get you there fast. Okay, you know what your goals are, and Ignite's going to teach you all the different things you need to do on a consistent basis to get there sooner rather than later. So on page 9, the most successful at this business know it takes a certain mindset and attitude to keep at it every day, and especially to excel. Fortunately, Keller Williams has a foundational model for a successful mindset, which came into existence when Gary Keller asked a question of hundreds of top agents. What is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish as much? After he researched this and found out the answers, he came up with what's called the 6 personal perspectives. So if you go to page 10, it talks about the first one. The first one is self-mastery. Self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you, or that make you the master of your trade, right? Know your goals, know your strengths and weaknesses, know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. So I told you earlier what one of my weaknesses was. Does anybody remember what it is? Follow through. It's follow through. Okay, for those of you that are familiar with the DISC, D-I-S-C, anybody want to guess which one of those letters I am off the charts on? No, but thank you. So who's familiar with the DISC? Okay, the 3 of you sort of. So what, a person who's a high D, what are they? What's the stereotype? Kind of deals with determined.
Very driven.
Very driven, kind of forceful, very aggressive. My way or the highway, I want a yes or no, let's do this now, right? What's a C?
An accountant.
Yeah,
Somebody who's very by the numbers, wants the details.
your engineers.
Yeah, engineers. They worry over every detail of something. They want to know.
Yeah, they're the person that when I said you should be doing 20 contacts a day, they stopped in their head and they said, okay, 20 contacts times 5 days a week times 52. Yeah, they came up with, okay, that's this many contacts a year. That's a C. Who's an S? Kind of, sort of, yeah.
They're the people that are very helpful.
Very warm,
They're very warm.
giving,
Yeah.
kind-hearted, but they're not very like boisterous, right?
Yep. They want to be very helpful. They want to make sure people are comfortable.
Absolutely,
You know, they're the people that have a hard time saying no.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
they'll kind of put you off rather than
Your typical Minnesota nice, Minnesota passive aggressive, right? And who is an I? Outgoing social butterfly that's going a mile a minute. They're like, they would
That's you.
walk. Who said that?
That's you.
How dare you? They would walk in and oh, hey, how are you? Good to see you. How's the family? How's that flip going? Oh my gosh, how are you doing? How's everything with you? Sean, how's it going, man? How was your weekend? Very cool. Jenny, what's going on? You know, that's a high. The social butterfly just fluttering around, saying hi to everybody, and then they just forgot what they're supposed to do the rest of the morning. Right?
I didn't mean it that way.
Because they would have talked to you, right? So that's a high I. That's what I am. Like, I just love talking to people. I'm a high I, man. That's how I roll. A lot of people that get into real estate are high I's because it's a people business, right? Doesn't mean you have to be a high I to be successful in the business. It just happens to attract a lot of high I's. But one of the big weaknesses, like I mentioned, of a high I is we're so focused on talking with people, this, that, and the other, that a lot of stuff kind of slips through the cracks sometimes. So one of the biggest things that will help you in life is some self-reflection that allows you to identify your weaknesses so that you're conscious of them, right? Because everybody has weaknesses, right? Everybody's got strengths. Everybody's got weaknesses, but there's a huge difference in the people that know they have weaknesses and the people who have no idea. Either through consciously deciding they don't want to know what their weaknesses are or by ignoring them, right? Like how many of you here know you have some weaknesses? Anybody care to share what some weaknesses are? Besides being too cool, like my weaknesses are too cool. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Lack of focus.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
Never watched too much TV.
Okay, gotcha.
Focus.
Focus. Okay. Like I said, one of my weaknesses is follow through. Right? I'm too busy, or I tell myself I'm too busy. But what are ways in which you can solve a weakness, or counter a weakness? Does it mean you have to fix it and make it a strength? Not necessarily. What could you do if you have a weakness in something? What could you do?
Focus on it more.
What is my weakness? It's focus on. I'm just kidding. What are some other things?
Try to use it, like it said, I think I've read something where you can mix it with your strength a little bit or something. Somehow to have one kind of counter the other.
Absolutely. Well, so let's make it extreme for a second. You say, hey, one of my weaknesses is I watch a little bit too much TV. What could you do?
Watch sales videos.
You could do that. Or you could get rid of your TV. Holy crap.
Create systems.
Holy
and-
crap.
and
I'm not asking you to do that.
structures
That's what I'm
to-
looking for. What can I either hire or employ in my business that maybe just takes care of that? One, for me, an administrative assistant. Oh my God, my follow through is amazing now because I'm not in charge of it. Right? You know what I mean? So that's one way in which I can take a weakness and then actually make it a strength or find a way to counter that weakness. I'm not saying everyone needs to go out there and hire somebody, but for me, that was what changed my business. First, my wife joined me in real estate. That helped. She did a lot of it. Now, as our business has continued to grow, we have an administrative person that she's a lifesaver. Like she'll close the loop on everything. I'll just forward her stuff like, hey, can you close the loop on this for me? I know it's taken care of, because if it's up to me, it's not going to get done as quickly as it should, or maybe even ever, which is terrible. Like that's just terrible, right? But that's my weakness. But the difference between me and a lot of other people is I know that's my weakness and I own it. I own it. And if I do it and I fail somebody and they say, hey, dude, we talked about that a week ago, I'm like, you know what? That's my fault. I apologize. You're absolutely right. And then I'll close the loop on it, right? As opposed to, oh, because what a lot of people do, it's only human. Making an excuse. Oh, well, I was, family reunion was coming up. So I had to start preparing for family reunion. Well, then I was at family reunion, I had to focus on that. And then I got back from family, I had a lot of catching up to do, right? I could perpetuate that excuse, forward and backward as long as I wanted to, right? Easy to do. But at the end of the day, the difference is if you know it's your weakness and you own your weakness, it's just way better. That gets back to integrity a little bit, Jamie. I think if you kind of drop the ball a little bit with somebody, and you just say, hey man, you're absolutely right. I completely dropped the ball. I apologize. Here's the information you're looking for. Here's how I can help you. We think that goes a little bit further than say, oh, well, I have this going on, this, and this. I'm really sorry about that, but blah, blah, blah. Like, which one do you kind of respond to a little bit better?
Honesty.
Yeah, right, honesty, right? Kind of like, okay, well, hey, you know what? He's right. You dropped the ball, but props for at least admitting it and just getting it done, right? Does that happen with your clients all the time? Has it ever happened with your clients? Have you ever dropped the ball with a client? I have, absolutely. And it's so tempting to say, it's come up with an excuse, but it's like, hey, you know what? I apologize. I meant to get that to you last week. My fault. Here's the information now. Let me know if you need anything else. Just be that way, right? Or I'll be like, well, you know what? Here's the review. I was waiting for the other agent to give me the info. I don't know what they were doing. I'm just kidding. Unless that's true. But there are so many times where I coach our team. We'll just take ownership, even if it's not our fault, even if it's not our mistake. It's like, hey, we just take ownership and get it done and move on, right? Because that's what your clients want. Your clients don't want to hear excuses. Your clients do not want to hear excuses. You want to fire some clients up or not get them to do repeat business with you, give them excuses. They'll be done. Okay, sorry, I'll stop preaching there. But relating back to self-mastery, it's knowing your goals, it's knowing both your strengths and your weaknesses, figuring out how you can play to your strengths and either overcome, adjust for, or completely counter your weaknesses through systems, through people, through better organization, what have you. Knowing your weaknesses is the biggest thing, and then being able to do something about them. Let's move to commit to the 80-20 principle. So the idea that the 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results may be one of the most powerful principles you can apply to your life. It's about getting the most from your time and effort. It's about maximizing your results. It's about having focus. And the word focus has come up so much already today, right? So would you guys agree, how many of you have heard of the 80-20 principle before, right? Nothing groundbreaking. We've all heard that, right? They also say about 80% of the business is done by about 20% of realtors, right? So when we look at the 80-20 principle, we understand the premise behind it. What I want you to do, if 80% of the results that we're getting stem from 20% of the things we spend our time on, I want you just to critically take 20 seconds and think to yourself, on a daily basis, what is it I'm spending my time on? Am I carving out 2, 3, 4 hours daily consistently in which I'm pouring into my business? I'm not talking about processing your business. I'm not talking about servicing your business. Because if I'm processing and servicing my business, am I growing it? Yeah. Well, so here's the deal. I can see how you would say yes to that question. So let me ask it in a little bit more detail. If I'm just doing the things that I need to do in order to get a deal to close, am I growing my business? Why not? Why do you say no? That deal's already done. Right? Knock on wood. I mean, we've all had those ones that we need to kind of, get out the defibrillator. Let's get this thing going here, right? But that being said, because here's what I'll tell you, it's so tempting, and this has been me before, right? It's so tempting to say, well, I've got 2 or 3 pendings right now, so I'm going into the office. I'm maybe talking to some lenders, make sure that everything's going good with those deals. I'm going to talk to title companies, maybe review a HUD or 2, and call my clients and let them know everything's going okay. That's a good day at the office, right? Done deal. It was a super busy day. Man, do I feel like I got a lot done. But here's the deal, dude. Did you grow your business? Did you add anything to your pipeline? Did you get another, did you sign another client, or did you get another property under contract? Because if you didn't do that, and if that wasn't your focus, I hate to break it to you, but 2 months from now, when those deals close out, you're going to be back at ground zero, twiddling your thumbs, thinking to myself, I was super busy the last 2 months. I don't know what happened. Right? Well, I can tell you what happened. You let yourself focus on those things because those were easier to do than focusing on the stuff that's a little less pleasurable to do. You're just focusing on that medium. Does that make sense? This is nothing groundbreaking, but it's just good to get these reminders. And that was helpful for me when I realized that, you know what, they're absolutely right. I'm letting, I'll go into the office, I'll focus on reviewing the paperwork, making sure it's good, dot, loop, everything's good to go, boom, what an awesome day. If you do that for 2 weeks in a row, it's 2 weeks you just lost of the year to find more business, which is hugely impactful. So think about it that way. That's what the 80-20 is all about. If you've only got 20% of your day to dedicate to activities, don't dedicate them to the activities that you know are just going to get done anyway. If you get a property under contract, I have a feeling you're going to find a way to get that sucker to close. Right? Focus on getting the next contract. Focus on getting the next client. That's what your 20% should be focused on. Take that 20%, carve out that time, dedicate yourself to it every single day, and then once you've done that, then you can switch to those other activities, right? Or you can hire those activities out, or put all those activities for Wednesday or Friday. Do them all at once on one day of the week rather than doing them every day of the week for all the time dedicated to those things. Okay, move from E to P. High achievers are always looking for the purposeful way. By doing this, they break through the ceiling of their natural behavior. I'm telling you, man, moving from E to P is something I still struggle with. So when we talk about E to P, what are the 2 words we're talking about right there? Entrepreneur, moving from being entrepreneurial to purposeful, right? Because is it easy to be entrepreneurial? You don't even know that you're doing it, but it's what you're doing. How many of you guys, or how many of you know people potentially, who've shown up to the office. And their only plan for the day was, I just need to get to the office. And then once they're there, they just start doing stuff. Like they had no plan coming into the office that day, but they got themselves there, which is half the battle. Look, I'm here. Now I'm gonna check Facebook. Maybe check my emails. See what's going on. Maybe I'm gonna run into the email bunny trail, where I hop to about 12 different sites before I realize, oh my God, I've been here 2 hours. I better do something, right? Maybe I call some people. They're here, but they're just shooting from the hip. There's no grand design. There's no purpose. There's no overarching goal that they're aiming toward, where it's kind of funneling all their activities or channeling it, right? They're just getting here and doing whatever comes natural, right? So moving from entrepreneurial to purposeful means I've got my calendar in front of me. It's time blocked. I came in to achieve this, this, and this today. I have to make my 20 contacts. I'm scheduling an open house for this weekend, and I'm going to go door knock this neighborhood on Wednesday, so I need to create my flyers for it, right? The difference between E to P, between steps 2 and steps 3, 80-20 and the E to P, if each of those two respectively don't double your business, I would be amazed, right? So one tip I could give you is whether it's commitment to 80-20 or move from E to P, highlight both of them and decide which one do you want to tackle first. Then once you've tackled that one, tackle the next one, because you're going to see your business double. Then you're going to see it double again, hands down. For me, 80-20 was I took bold and learned you're in the business of lead generation. So I was like, oh crap, I better start doing that. And then for me, moving from E to P was I hired a coach. And they said, Zach, stop wasting your time and get down to business. I went from about 2 million to 5 million in volume when I did the 80-20. And I went from 5 million to over 10 million when I didn't move to E to P. Real numbers, not being braggadocious, but that is a testimonial. That's a, hey, in my business, I'm in the same business that you are. This is what I do. Those two things doubled it and then doubled it again. And it wasn't hard. I just had to learn it. I didn't know it before. I just had to learn. I built some skill sets along the way through scripts and stuff that we talked about. Number 4, make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. Well, here's the good news. If you're at Keller Williams, you've already done step 4. Congratulations. You've already committed to being learning-based and making it the foundation of your real estate business. Just like I say, welcome to real estate. You're in the lead generation business, not the real estate selling business. Keller Williams would tell you, we're not in the business of selling real estate. We're in the business of educating, training, and coaching people who just so happen to sell real estate. That makes sense? Let's look at remove your limiting beliefs. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. Now, I love this one because this is one of those that, like I said before, I'm an Army guy, so you can imagine I love airy, fairy, cheesy stuff, right? Remove your limiting beliefs. Okay, thanks, Oprah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, give me a break. But here's the deal. So one exercise you do in Bold every year, or every time you take it, is you write down what you're going to accomplish this coming year. You write it in a letter to yourself. You send it to Keller Williams International, and a year later it shows up in your mailbox. And I remember the first Bold I took was probably the best Bold instructor I've had, and I've been to Bold 8 times. His name is John Prescott. He said, write down your goals. Write down my goals. He said, write down how much you want to make, in a year, for this year. Write down what that amount is. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in Bold, so I better go big. Oh God, they really pushed me hard. I wrote down this number. And right as I'm proud of myself, like, all right, that's a huge goal. That's pretty audacious. We'll see. Then he goes, all right, good job. Now double it. This is what it does. I said, huh? I was like, what, are you kidding me? Like, this was a stretch. Now you're gonna double this number out of your mind, dude? Okay, well, you told me to double it, but right now. So I'll take a long story and I'll shorten it. So I doubled that number, and over the last 2 or 3 years of my career, I have surpassed that number 2 or 3 years in a row now. It was a big number because they challenged me to put down a big number. And in Bold, they'll talk to you about your financial thermostat, which is a great exercise to run through. But I share that with you because at my previous company, not too long before I went to that session, at my previous company, what I had done is I took my mortgage payment, I multiplied it by 12, and I said, okay, if I do this amount on an annual basis, it'll pay my mortgage, it'll pay my bills. The average commission is this. So I'm going to take that amount, divide it by my commission, and okay, this is the amount of deals I need to do yearly. And I didn't know I was doing that at the time, but what do you think I was doing to myself subconsciously? I had just set my goal, I had just set a limiting belief for myself. And it was 18 deals. 18 deals, like, okay, I'll pay my bills, I'll have a house, whatever that is, good. Didn't even know I was doing it at the time. I thought I was doing something financially responsible. I'm talking about my bills, all right, I'm gonna go. 18 deals, right? We've, been just shy of the 50 mark annually the last 2 years in a row. And this year we're going to surpass that. So can you imagine if I had settled for 18 or 20, when in reality I was capable of 50? That's more than double. That's more, and we're going to double it again, right? More than double. And I'm just going to say in my late 20s, although I'm about as late as you can get in your 20s. So that means in my mid-20s is when I calculated that number. And as somebody in their mid-20s, the number I put down initially, if you were to ask anybody else in their 20s, hey, what are you going to make? Could have been like, oh my God, no way, we can do it. So then when he made me double it, it blew my mind. But now looking back on it, it changed my thinking. It removed I had a limiting belief in my head right then and there that was not possible. He said double it, which stretched my mind to think even bigger, and now we've surpassed it. So I'm telling you, the limiting beliefs and the mindset stuff, that airy-fairy, gooey, cheesy Oprah stuff, is so valuable. It's not even funny. It's so valuable. I can't even put a tangible number on how valuable it is. Because now I look at everything in my business and everything in my life. Instead of saying, oh, I can't do that, I think to myself, how can I make that happen? What is it that I need to do in order to make that achievable? Versus that's just not doable. Does that make sense? You should think of your business the same way. Some of us think of 20 contacts a day, I can't do that. How? Let me ask you, what is it you would have to do, or what is it it's going to take to get you to do 20 contacts a day? I guarantee it can be done. The only question is how committed are you to making sure that it gets done? Right? And then who's going to hold you accountable? And are you going to let yourself lose focus? Right? Because when we say, oh, I have trouble with focus, which really I have trouble with is letting yourself lose focus. Would you agree with that? No? Did I get too real? Am I getting too funky on you?
I've been at this so new, and I'm going to be vulnerable right now.
Please do. I love
so new. I mean, I just got my license in April. I've sold a few houses, but
outstanding.
But I don't know how. I don't even know how to begin making contact. We call people and say, hey. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Good
I'm passing out my card everywhere. Yeah. I've got,
Are you a high I?
I am. I'm kind of all of those things.
That's good. But here's the good news for you, is we're going to give you some scripts you can use to make those phone calls.
So you're talking phone calls. I mean, because I'm out in public, talking to people like, oh, I'm in real estate.
Phone calls,
I'm thinking
anything,
that's
whether it's phone calls, whether it's door knocking, whether it's holding an open house, whether it's networking, being out and about. There's so many, like you could recommend, like if we had started your business day at 9 a.m. today, and let's say you want to be done at 4, could, in the course of between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., could you have gone out to businesses in the local area and just introduce yourself to people and hand out your card? And said, hey, I'm Christine at Keller Williams. Help people buy and sell real estate. If you could ever use a helping hand, I'd love to take great care of you.
I just bought a new washer and dryer, and she asked me for a card. I would have never thought.
Boom, that's a contact.
Yeah, I gave her like 6.
There you go.
She's like, you're the only real estate agent that's ever given me more than one. That's good.
You're taking it from 4-year degree level to master's degree level, right? not just give me a card, here's a few extra in case you have anybody, friends, family, etc. that could also do stuff. I'd love
But I
to
just don't think I can do that 20 times a day. I don't, you know.
Great, so great, I appreciate you saying that that's challenging. So let me ask you, if your life depended on making 20 contacts in a day, do you think you can make it happen?
Well, I suppose
The
I
answer
have
is
to,
yes.
but I
The
don't know
answer is
what,
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, so whether it's, so an easy one is, you can always go door knocking. That might not be your thing, you might be like, dude, I don't wanna do that, but could you do it? Absolutely. Could you, if you absolutely had to, so I'm gonna share with you a great story. Ben Kinney runs an operation out in the state of Washington. And, or is it Oregon? One of the two, it's out west somewhere. And, he had a guy on his team come to him and say, hey man, I'm really struggling. I don't know where to find these 20 contacts. I don't know where to find these leads. I really need you to give me some leads. So Ben said, okay, cool, man. I hear what you're saying. Do me a favor, come back in at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'll have a fresh set of leads for you. I said, all right, cool. Comes in at 8, then gives him a list of 20, 50 names, whatever. Guy calls him, sets some appointments, whatever. He comes back in Ben and says, hey, great, I'm all out of my leads. Can you give me some more? I said, yeah, come here. The guy comes over. Ben opens up the phone book. He said, well, I gave you page 1 yesterday. Here's page 2.
I mean, I've done that with letters.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not groundbreaking. It's not new. But if you have to have 20 conversations, there's certainly ways you can go about it.
I was in your same shoes actually. I didn't.
And what have you and Nick done?
I kept thinking to myself, like, I don't know how I can do this. It's not realistic. Then I did it one day, and after that, I realized like there's no way that I can't not do this.
Right.
Like there's just no way that
Because you start to build momentum, right? And what we're hoping to do, or the whole point behind telling you to focus on 28 days, 28 is to build that as a habit. So they'll say, it takes about how many days to form a habit?
66.
Yeah, well, I've heard 66. I've also heard 33. I don't know. So if it takes you 66, great. If you can do it sooner, awesome. But there comes a point in which if you do it consistently and you build that habit and then you don't do it, what's it feel like? It feels weird. It feels weird. You don't need to get to a point where you've built lead generation as such a huge habit that if you don't do it for some reason, it just feels weird. Oh God, I gotta get back. Like my back's just doing weird stuff thinking about it. I gotta get back into doing it, right? It's building the momentum in my business that I need. What it's doing is it's stretching your mind. Because that's what Bold and that income exercise did for me, is it stretched my mind enough to make me think it was doable. Then I did it. So now once I did it, what do you think my mind did? Once I hit that number became the bottom. Right before it was never even in my realm of possibility. Well, then it became the top. Then I surpassed it. So then that number, which was unbelievably unattainable for me, became the bottom of my mindset. I mean, that's insane, right? Back in the day, I was calculating 18 deals in a year. That became my top. Now we're doing 50. I'm thinking, okay, how do I get to the point where we're doing 18 in a month, right? So I appreciate you sharing this stuff. Okay, removing limiting beliefs, being accountable. I'm not going to dive into that one too much because we've already talked a little bit about accountability and discipline. We know the importance of it. The only question is, what are you going to do to hold yourself accountable, or who can you turn to help you hold yourself accountable? Whether it's me, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a peer, another agent in the office, whether it's these systems that Ignite, what can you do to hold yourself accountable? Here's the deal. I've been in situations before where, I went through Bold and so-and-so and myself, we agreed to be script partners. We're going to call each other every day at 8 in the morning. That didn't happen, or it did once, right? So if you're going to have an accountability partner, you guys need to be committed to each other and really help each other out and help that person be accountable and make sure they're going to help you be accountable at the same time. Example, Debbie Benson. She's going to keep you accountable, or at least check in on a regular basis, right? That's what she does. And Debbie's business. She's got a great business. Okay, getting the most out of this experience. Now we're on page 14. You will have begun an exciting journey towards sparking your business and attaining your dreams. You're not simply a student or a learner in Ignite. You are a capper in training, prepared to do what it takes to be successful in your real estate career. So what kind of training or what kind of student are you going to be at Ignite? So they got to give you the three different examples. You can be a prisoner, you can be the vacationer, or you can be the explorer. All right. So I'll sum up these columns for you. And I don't think any of you are the prisoner because you didn't volunteer to be here, right? So the prisoner is what you are when you're in high school. I'm just kidding. Like, oh God, I gotta be here. I gotta sit through this class. I need the credit in order to graduate and get my diploma. Right? That's the prisoner. The vacationer is, hey, dude, this is way better than making my 20 contacts today. You know what I mean? You tell me I don't have to go out and lead you in a door knock. I'm just gonna come sit in this class, listen to Zach pontificate, do his weird thing that he does up there, and then call it a day, right? Because hey, that seems like a productive day. Versus the explorer. They're excited and curious about new knowledge, skills, and tools that they'll discover in the class, right? And they're participative. Right. Page 15. Several things are going to make this course a huge victory for you. Action reveal, report out on your mission for each power session, expectations for each power session for both you and me, and ground rules for everyone to follow. So let's talk about action reveal. So we're going to give you missions to complete before each session. Right, and then we'll kind of talk about what were your takeaways, what were your wins, how did the missions go for you, all that fun stuff. So, like I said before, mission 1, we're gonna pass on for now and let you guys between today and tomorrow catch up on mission 1 and then focus on mission 2, which is a preparation for Wednesday's class. Let's spend some time going through the ground rules on page 17. So just a few ground rules, and you guys already know this, you're already good about it. Being here on time, being fully present. A lot of times, I mean, this does not bug me. So I want you to know I'm not going to give you the stink face if I see you doing this, because I know you're all adults and you have business. So if you're on your phone or you got to do something or text or make an email, I'm cool with that. Just do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Or if you even need to step out, I'm fine with that. No judgment, right? Make it happen. Go sell a house, right? But what I would hate to see is for you to do this every day during all the sessions, right? Because if you're doing this, what are you not doing? You're not getting the great content, right? So, like I said before, it's no judgment from this guy. Do what you have to do on your phone. That's completely cool. But if you're doing it all the time, that's telling me two things. Number one, you're not taking away any content. And number two, that's telling me that you can't step away from your business for 2 hours, right? Which hopefully can get everybody to the point in which if you need to step away from your business for a couple hours, you can do so, and it's not going to implode, right? That, for me, was hiring and bringing somebody else on, right? Still got a team that does its thing, but obviously I'm not there right now. It's still making it happen, right? So that's what we want to do for you. How do you participate here? So I participate everywhere. I've got it. Respect different learning styles. I love questions. Please feel free to jump in with questions because it helps us all learn from each other. Consider everything we discuss as confidential. And then commit to implementing at least one thing you learned, and last but not least, have fun, right? Make it happen. Page 18, questions. What is your job? Sales, lead generate. We already talked about that. Who is your customer? Everyone. Everyone's a potential customer. And what's your product? Okay, our product is not homes. I don't know about any of you guys, but I don't build homes. Do you build homes? Okay, cool. So I'm not selling homes. What I'm selling is my knowledge, my expertise, and the ability to deliver a stellar customer experience every time. I'm selling my knowledge, expertise, and ability to deliver a phenomenal experience every time.
Is that yours personally, or do we need to go?
This is in the book, my good sir.
Okay.
You can put whatever you want.
Sounds like your mission statement.
But the mission statement for my team personally has always been, the focus has always been customer service. So I can relate to that one. But that's Team Lucky Duck. Our job is to provide our customers with the best customer service they've ever received in their life, because I want them to use us for life. I want them to send us their friends and family for life. So it's all customer service based. Okay, so let's go to page 19. Skill 1. Know your big why and your monetary goals. Okay. What drives you is not only your mindset and attitude, but it's what you're passionate about. Joan, You said, I'm passionate about helping people. That's why we're in real estate, right? So it's channeling your passion. Melissa, you might be super passionate about having success with investment properties, right? I mean, I'm passionate about that. I think that's awesome. So real estate, and here's kind of how I view real estate for me personally. Real estate is a vehicle for generating capital that allows me to then take that capital and invest it in whatever it is I'm really truly passionate about. So number one, it helps I'm passionate about helping people. My real estate business does that. But the whole purpose of my real estate business is to generate working capital that I can then go ahead and invest in other things or use to better the lives of like my family members, for example. So I was talking about my big why with my wife because my big why is something I've struggled with, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Your big why. So I struggled with it because. Am I getting too loud?
No,
okay,
not
good.
at all, not loud enough. Kelly, can I do you call? Thank you.
Time for discipline. No, just kidding. So I always, as a young guy or young married guy, it's like, okay, what's your big why? Oh, my big why is I like helping people. I agree, but like that's really not that specific, right? You know what I mean? So it wasn't until I think that we had our baby that my big why probably that became more clear to me. It was more about her, and I told my wife, I said, what I want for our kids is if one of our kids ever wants to take advantage of an opportunity, I don't ever want to have to tell them no. If an opportunity ever presents itself for one of my children, I want to be in such a financially strong position that they can pursue that opportunity. Does that make sense? Because when I was a kid, and this might surprise you, but my parents, we were well off. They weren't in real estate yet, right? I come from the Quad Cities in Illinois, Iowa, which is like my grandparents still kind of do live in the ghetto, right? And like talk about changing mindset, it was completely different. And so when I was little, like if there was ever a school trip where you had to raise money, like first and foremost, I knew it wasn't going to get paid for, so I had to go raise money, and I felt bad asking for money. Right? And for me, when I was a kid, I never asked my parents, "Hey, can I have some money to go to the movies?" Right? It was like if I want to go to the movies, I better find a way to get some money. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, man, my kids, and I love my parents to death. Don't get me wrong; they're awesome people, and they do so much for my daughter. It's unbelievable. So she truly is spoiled. But for me, it was. And I saw this for my brothers, which was awesome because and my parents were young parents. As they did more and they became in a better financial position and they became successful in real estate, my brothers had everything. And I was like, you love something. No, I'm just joking. But like my brother Dylan got to go on these awesome Boy Scout trips and stuff like that, and Cole and Drake, like they had more stuff that they could do. And I thought to myself, man, my kids, if they want an opportunity, that's my big why. That they're never going to miss an opportunity that they want to take advantage of, right? And it's to be able to provide my kids with as many opportunities as possible. So thinking about your big why and then and tying it to your monetary goal, because we're going to talk about what's your goal monetarily. What do you want to make? And sometimes that's a very goofy, a very sticky conversation because some of us have been taught either by family or by society that making a lot of money is not necessarily a good thing, right? We've been taught that money is sometimes tied to greed, that, if you make a lot of money, maybe there's something bad about that, things of that nature, right? But here's one of my favorite sayings, and I heard it said at family reunion again, and it just reminded me, and I shared it with some people the other day in another class, but money is good for the good that it can do, right? And I'll say it again because it's that powerful. Money is good for the good that it can do. If you make $250,000, doesn't make you a bad person, because who knows how much of that $250,000 you kept, right? And where the rest of it went. Maybe it went to help somebody or fund something, right? So, I mean, I live by that. Money is good for the good that it can do, and my big why is huge, because what did I say real estate for me is? It's a vehicle to generate capital that I can then take that capital and do good with it, right? Okay, so what stirs your soul? Why are you in this business? What do you hope to achieve for yourself and your family? The answer to these questions are the basis for your big why. And to fuel that big why will take money and income goal, right? So to achieve success, you need motivation, inspiration, doing it, and that's your big why. So let's talk about your passion for your big why. Anyone can achieve the goals set in this course, but not everybody will. The journey requires discipline and commitment to follow models, systems, and a schedule every day. It requires passion towards something bigger than a task at hand into your big why. First, have a big why built around your passion, then follow the models you'll learn in this course, keep doing it, and you will achieve your grand success. So at the bottom, you can see that arrow. It's got initially your passion for your big why, following the models, time on task over time, doing them consistently, right? You can't just generate 20 leads a day for 3 days or a week and be like, hey, this sucks, right? Or hey, I'm not seeing any results, okay? Because I promise you, you're gonna quit right at that teetering point where you're about just to explode, right? So do it consistently. It's about longevity, and that's what's gonna create your long-term success over time. So I want you on page 20, it talks about big future. Write down the date 12 months from now. So write down the date 12 months. Let's make it March 1st. March 1st, 2018. So let's take a minute to think a year from now. The date is now March 1st, 2018. Your business is thriving. Your life is everything you dreamed of. Your customers rave about the experience and value that you provide. Your family and friends are extremely proud of you. You're helping others live their dream of owning a home. You're building the foundations and momentum for a phenomenal career in real estate. You're a top agent in the area. You're poised to hire maybe even an assistant to help you. You're on your path to building a career worth having, a business worth owning, and a life worth living. And if that's a new saying to you, please highlight it for me at the very bottom. Build a career worth having, a business worth owning, and a life worth living. Because that's the mission statement of Keller Williams. That's our job. That is my job. It's to help you build a career worth having, which means you have a business worth owning, which allows you to have a life worth living. So on page 21, it says, it's asking about your big why. What are your answers to these questions? What drives you? All that fun stuff. So let's take just 2 minutes to look at this. You don't have to complete this section. That'll probably be a little bit of homework for you, but at least get the wheel spinning a little bit. Take a look at those questions for the next 2 minutes, then we'll pick it back up. If some answers come to you, great, write them down. Because the first things that come to you are probably like the most true answers. I'll be right back. Okay. So here's what I'll say about the big why. What I would absolutely love to have happen is between now and Wednesday's session, please take your time to complete that section about your big why. And then on Wednesday, if you guys are willing, or those of you that are willing, if you wouldn't mind sharing your big why, that would be awesome. I think page 22, it says from your answers on the previous page, right? One statement that summarizes your big why. I kind of already shared what mine is with you guys. My big why is to ensure that all of my kids have the maximum amount of opportunities they possibly can. Right? So think about that. Doesn't have to be that crazy or that airy-fairy, but think about it for a minute. So, okay, so tied to our big why is our monetary goal. So if we look at page 23, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And remember, we're framing this as money is good for the good that it can do. So don't feel bashful about writing a crazy awesome number down. At the Market Center, we have something called the CGI. It's a calculator you can use in KW Connect to help you set your income goal and track your goals and appointments and activities and stuff. We can talk more about that later, because what I want you to dial in on first is setting that goal for yourself. So now that you know your big why, or you started thinking about your big why, what it might be, what's it going to take to fund your life and your big why? And there's an awesome note right there that says, remember to include taxes and expenses, right? So it doesn't have to be right now, but I'm going to give you about 10 or 15 seconds, so that if you kind of already have it in mind, that where it has that blank on page 23 with the $sign, take a minute and give yourself a year to March 1st, 2018, between now and then, or you can do, hey, by the end of 2017, I want to earn this much, whichever you prefer. Think about what that number is, and then write it down. I'm not going to ask you to double it, so don't try to put half the amount and expect you to say double. So. 10 seconds, write it down, or sketch a little number to the side that you can come back and revisit it when you talk about your big why. Maybe put that number. Okay. Now that you've written down your monetary goal, or if you maybe have a number in mind, let's look at what it takes to achieve this amount by calculating the average commission on each house bought or sold. So on the bottom of page 23, Artie kind of has an example laid out for you, right? And I would say, honestly, that example is probably not too far off what some of you guys might be seeing, specifically in the Rochester market, right? A little bit further out, sometimes the average price point might be a little bit less than 200,000. So if that's the case, just substitute out the numbers and do the math for yourself. But at an average sale price of 200,000, and an average payout of 3%, that gives you an average net GCI, or an average net commission, of about $6,000 per deal, right? So that's an example. If you turn to page 24, you can do your own example, either based on your own numbers in your business and what your average sale price tends to be, because it might be less than 200,000, it might be more than 200,000. You can do your own example right there. I'm not going to have you do it right now unless you already have that info and you can do it super fast. That might be a good homework assignment. But then what it's asking you to do is drop down below and factor in taxes, right? So our cap here at the Market Center is $19,500. That's what our cap is. Plus there's a royalty fee of $3,000, right? So when you calculate what you want your overall GCI to be, you want to factor in the fact that you're going to pay both of those caps, because what we're focused on is your net income, right? What are you going to take away after you pay your taxes and all of it? There's a spot for you to work through that at the bottom of page 24. But if you look to page 25, it gives you a good, clean example that you can work on. So, letter A, what's your annual net GCI goal? Hey, this agent said, hey, at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, when I pay my taxes, when I pay the company, etc., I want to net 6 figures. I want to make $100,000, right? Phenomenal goal, by the way. That may or may not be what I put down the first time I had to write down my goal before you told me to double it, so you can see why I went. Letter B, Market Center cap. Letter C is your GCI, or your net GCI goal plus that cap, right? Because you're going to have to make that amount plus your cap. Then your average commission per transaction might be $5,000, might be $6,000, might be more than that. So you're then going to divide the number from letter C, which is your gross commission income plus your expense, divided by that $6,000 for that commission per deal, to give you how many transactions you're going to need in a 12-month period to make that income. Well, then I would challenge you to take it one step further, because this says 21 deals in a 12-month period, right? And for some people, like, good Lord, 21 deals? Oh my God, that's a ton. What's 21 divided by 12?
Less than two.
Well, I'm glad you guys sounded like that. Well, question two, right? Right?
One point seven five.
Thank you, sir. Less than two, right? So let me ask you a question. If you had to find 2 pieces of business a month, could you do it? No. 2 pieces a month, 2 pieces. Now let me ask you this, if you're making 20 contacts a day every day, would it be that easy, or that much easier to find 2 pieces of business a month? Let's break it down even more. If I have to find 2 pieces of business a month, how many pieces of business do I have to find a week? Half a deal. You just gotta find either the husband or the wife. Right? If we're talking half, if you can do it, you can find a deal one week, take a vacation the next week, and come back and find a deal the next week, right? Like if you're struggling to set a goal, make your first goal at least 2 pieces of business a month, and then build it from there, right? Build it from there, because 2 pieces of business a month, that's going to be 24 pieces of business total in a year, which is going to make it over 6 figures, right? Commission-wise. And if you manage your expenses, would you agree with me that that's pretty good living, right? And here's the deal, because I sympathize with folks, because it's easy to say, dude, I know you're up here, you do the math, you break down numbers, you're like, find 2 pieces of business a month. Yeah, that sounds easy, dude, but in real life, is it really that easy? Well, you may not like the answer to this question, but I would submit to you right now in this market, finding 2 pieces of business a month, probably as easy as it's been in a long time. It might frankly be about as easy as it's going to get, right? Challenge yourself, get out there, hold open houses, do the door knocking, make your 20 contacts a day. I guarantee you'll find at least 2 businesses a month. Now imagine if all of a sudden you start finding 3 or 4. Life is good. Life is good. Can you fund your big why at that point? Absolutely. Okay. I'll get off my soapbox on that one. But I think it's such a powerful exercise, because sometimes these numbers seem so big, and until you chunk them down, you don't realize how achievable they really are. You know what I mean? 21 deals, okay, let's do that. Because could you maybe close 1 deal a few months here and there, but then close 3 deals a few other months, and are you still in line with your goal? Absolutely, absolutely. So it's very, very much doable. Page 26, you can work yourself through that based on your example, not the numbers that were just given to you in your book. So if your number was 50,000 or 80,000, or if your number was 250,000, you can do the math there to break it down for yourself on how many deals that is. And I always challenge you, don't stop at calculating how many deals a year it's going to take. Divide that number by 12. And if you still feel queasy about that number, divide it by 4, because that shows you each week we have to focus on. Because we just said it was pretty easy to find 2 pieces of business a month. Would you agree it's also probably achievable to find 1 piece of business a week? You got 5 days. That's being generous, because it could be 7, right? You got 5 days. Every single week you've got 5 days to find 1 piece of business. If you make that your focus, do you think you can make it happen? Absolutely. And all of a sudden you're putting yourself on track before closing the month. I hate to break it to you, but if you're an agent out there that's consistently closing an average of 4 deals a month, you're a top agent, hands down, overnight, right? And it's doable. It's funny, Cody Gibson, one of the guys in our company who I really look up to a lot, because he was a bold coach, and I really enjoyed his coaching. He said when he first got into real estate, he was 18, didn't know any better, and the broker of the office he joined was kind of like, just kind of giving him advice or stuff, but what you could tell was just kind of like off the cuff type of stuff. And he said to Cody, here's the deal, Cody, if you close, if you get a house under contract, if you get 1 house under contract a week, you're going to be all right. So Cody, as an 18-year-old kid, not knowing any better, thought to himself, my God, I better get a home closed. I better get a home under contract a week, or I'm going to get fired, right? So Cody said, for the next 8 weeks, I put a home under contract. So then he said, 1 week came up. I might be getting the numbers wrong, but I'm getting the gist of the story right. Cody's going to do a webinar with our office, by the way, sometime in March. He said, so then 1 week, we were getting close to the end of the week, and I went up to the guy at the front desk, and I said, hey, here's my buyer rep contract I have signed. I don't have a home under contract yet, but I want you to know I'm really working hard on it, right? And he goes, I can only imagine what that woman was thinking when I turned that paperwork. So then he had the same conversation with the broker, and the broker at that point said, hey, don't worry about it, you're already far exceeding expectations. So what do you think happened in Cody's business right after he was told that? He didn't have a closing for weeks after that. For weeks. It's all about mindset. All about mindset. And Cody also said, his broker said you have to have buyer rep signed. So that's what Cody did. Like, I got buyer rep signed all the time. Anytime I met with somebody who signed a buyer rep, right? He said, my broker came up to me and said, Cody, would you do me a favor? I want you to teach a class on how to get people to have their clients sign buyer rep agreements because nobody else is doing it but you. He's like, oh God, don't tell me that, don't tell me that, right? Because again, it was going to change his mindset and standards a little bit. For him, he was told from the very beginning, this is what you do. So no questions asked. That's what he did, which proves to everybody else it can be done. You're just not doing it, right? So that to me was kind of a fun story and a big takeaway. Of course, now he's doing great things, but just keep that in the back of your mind. Skill 2, commitment to lead generation. Journey to your monetary goal. So we know our monetary goal feeds our big why, but what steps are we taking in our business daily to ensure we're on track to meet our monetary goal? Well, that's where your schedule and your hour of thinking come into play, right? So it talks about how many hours you have in a day, etc., all that fun stuff. I'm going to look at page 28. How long does it take a buyer or seller to sign a contract, meaning get under contract on a property? Would you say on average? How long does it take for them to go under contract? Any thoughts?
In that time of year situation.
Absolutely. So on average, what would you say?
Probably 3 months.
3 months, 2 to 3 months?
Yeah.
Right, depending? Absolutely. So once it goes under contract, it might take you 2 or 3 months to actually get the home under contract. But once it's under contract, how long before it closes? 45 days. 45 to 60 days, right? So the questions you have to kind of ask yourself when you're planning out your goals and each month is, how quickly do you want to get paid, or how long can you go without having a payday? But what will it take for you to get paid so you can begin to fund your big why in your life, right? So this gets back to that conversation I had before. When you do the math and you see how long it takes to get a contract on a home and then close on it, it's why you always have to keep your foot down on the accelerator, because the minute you let up is the minute you're going to have your last closing and go a month or 2 or 3 or 4 without having your next one lined up because you stopped finding more business in the meantime. That's really what working through all those questions is all about. That painted back in summary. Page 29, your lead generation funnel. We're going to spend more time talking about this in depth later, but the reason why we say it's a numbers game and why it's 20 a day is you need to be getting out in contact with as many possible people that you can, because you're building a huge funnel. And we know if we have 20 conversations daily, over time, that's going to trickle down into people that are actually going to do business with you sooner rather than later. So I might talk to 20. Out of the 20, I might get 2 or 3 solid leads. I'm going to follow up with them. Out of the 2 or 3, maybe 1 or 2 of them are actually motivated to do something in the near future that's going to funnel down, right? So that's what that's all about. It funnels you down to appointments, agreements, contracts, and eventually a successful closing. Calling every session. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to take breaks for you guys to call during Ignite. I'd rather spend our time going through the content together and having some good ahas and discussions. So I'll put the accountability back on you. You can either do your phone calls before or after the sessions, right? Or whatever form of lead generation you're employing. For those of you that have a little bit of a car ride to drive back, might be a great opportunity to make some calls. Simple formula, page 30. Number 1, leverage powerful scripts, build the relationship. 3 and 4 are the biggest ones. Ask for the business and ask for referrals. Number 5, come from contribution. Because here's the deal, at the end of the day, you can memorize all the scripts possible. You can build a relationship by making the phone call, but if you never ask for the business, are you ever going to get it? Absolutely not. That was a huge learning lesson for me. Is I thought, man, I'm a nice enough guy. People like me. If I get a real estate license and they know I'm in real estate, of course they'll use me. It's inevitable. Not the case. You've got to get up. You have to ask. You have to give up 20 cards, right, to the person that you just met. It's all about asking for the business. But what I will do is I will teach you some great strategic ways to ask for the business that don't seem very up in your face, pressury, kind of like salesman-ish type of questions. And we'll build some great referral scripts into your process of working with clients that will continue to prime the pump and plant seeds for referral business. All right. Asking for the business and asking for referrals is absolutely huge. If you want to get 5 or 6 more deals in your business, that's the easiest, quickest way to do it, especially through referrals of people that already come in. 4 powerful habits, page 31. Number 1, grow and manage your database. These relate to the 4 activities or the daily 10-4. Grow and manage your database. Add 10 new contacts into your database every day. So these are our goals throughout the next 4 weeks of Ignite. Add 10 new people to your database every day. 10 new contacts, emphasizing new, right? I can't just, I have to make my database, so put my mom in there, put my dad in there, put my brother, okay, we get 10 pretty easy. 10 new people that you talk to, and now you're putting into your database, right? Number 2, prospect. Speak with 10 people in your database every day. Now, these don't have to be new people, right? This could be people that you already know, past clients, people you're hoping to do business with, etc. But have 10 conversations daily that revolve around real estate. They might be new. That's completely fine. Number 3, follow-up. Write 10 notes to people you know or have recently connected with every single day. That gets to the note card or the thank yous or whatever. It could be an email, whatever you prefer. Yes, sir.
Would that be, I was going to say, with the prospecting, is that reaching back out again, or is that not that that's a
great question. So let's say that I'm working somebody and it's Monday, and on Monday I called them, and on Wednesday I called them, and on Friday I called them, and said speak to 10 people in your database every day. You can choose to count them as one of your 10 every day if you choose to. I would recommend you just count them on that Monday, and then count the other ones as follow-up. Yep. It must be 20. But here's why they don't put new. Like, it doesn't have to be 20. It doesn't have to be 10 people you don't already know, but it should be 10 people that you haven't had a conversation with like recently. Does that make sense? 4, know your market. Preview 10 homes for sale every day and visit 10 in person every week. So this one I give you some leeway on, because if you're already busy with buyers and you're going through homes a lot, don't kill yourself and just go look at 10 homes for the sake of it. Or better yet, hop on MLS and just do yourself a favor and do everything new that's coming on every day. Does that make sense? If I'm a listing agent, you're looking previews on all my properties, like, dude, what are you doing? You have a buyer, or you just creeping? Daily 10-4. The daily 10-4 is the Ignite model that reinforces the 4 powerful habits. It's a simple tracking method for you to follow. It's easy to remember. Just remember, daily, every day, at least 6 days a week to begin, 10 of each of the 4 activities. So your 4 activities are adding people to your database, prospecting by having conversations, follow-up, and knowing your market. So of your 4 activities, do 10 each every day. 10 new people to the database, 10 conversations with people in my database, 10 notes/emails, and then spinning myself up on the local market by at least looking at the 10 new properties that were listed this week or whatever. If you choose to preview some or go through some broker opens, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to summarize the next few pages just by saying track all that stuff weekly. In terms of tracking, on page 33, it talks about kwconnect.com or going to daily104.com. If you go there and you use your login information, you can track all of it in a system for you, right? So I highly, highly recommend you use this system, right? Because then what we'll be able to do is each day we meet to say, hey, how's it coming under daily 10-4? What are your numbers? And we can even pull them up if we need to. Does that make sense? It's the first time we're trying Ignite down here this way, so I'm going to ease us into that. Ignite's moving forward. We're going to be pretty religious and pretty tied to tracking that stuff. But I want you guys just to become introduced to it at first and start trying to use it to track what it is you're doing on a regular basis. If you go to page 34, it shows you some screenshots of exactly what that looks like. Okay? Very, very powerful tool. And it lets you see. The nice thing is if you're one of those people that kind of like to measure the progress you're making, this will show you visually if you're making progress, if you're in line to achieve your goals and all that fun stuff. So use that. So let's talk about skill 3, using influencing sales language. Did you find everything you're looking for? Go ahead, look around. Please let me know if I can help. I see you admiring that large screen TV. Are you looking to have one in your home for the big game this weekend, etc.? Let's do some of the fill in the blanks here. Talking to people about their real estate needs and the needs of people they know. Talking to people about their real estate needs and the needs of the people they know. And again, it talks about E2P. We can either be entrepreneurial about it, just kind of as those conversations come up, wing it, or we can be purposeful about it and build it into our everyday lead generation. Or if you're like me, and I'll show you how I do this, I build it into every interaction we have with our clients from the beginning to closing, even after. Right? I've got my secret ninja referral scripts built in along the way. I know at what point triggers which referral script to lead into. And here, before a buyer has even done meeting with me, I've already planted the seed 2 or 3 times for referrals with them. But they don't even know it because it came out so naturally in a roundabout way. Scripts are cool. The purpose of scripts are to help you be able to answer the questions you need to know. You guys have an Ignite script book that's in your binder. Did you guys see that? That's like worth its weight in gold. Spend some time in that script book, man. Like live it, learn it, highlight it, tweak it. Those are some great, huge foundational scripts you can utilize for buyers, sellers, price corrections, all kinds of fun stuff. So learning scripts, we'll talk more about, benefits of scripts. Confidence allows us to stay focused, provide consistency. So let's just ask about it. Does anybody have any limiting beliefs surrounding scripts? Does anybody like scripts? Nothing.
I love them.
Okay, good. Good. I'm telling you, embrace these suckers. Awesome. Learning scripts. It's going to be a combination of memorizing them initially, then internalizing them. How do you think you internalize a script?
Practice.
Yeah, by saying it so many times you're sick of it, right? But then you're going to find that once you've internalized one, you're going to be out and about. You're going to enter into a random conversation, and you're just going to see the script flow out of you. You're like, how did that even happen? Oh my God, that's awesome. Or when you get really good, you do a good job of like shaping a conversation to a point that will allow you to get to a script. Like you just primed them to ask you a question you want them to ask you so you can launch into your script. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Or you're like, you'll notice I'll do this sometimes. Like I'll ask you guys, hey, what questions do you have? Nothing. And I say, great. One question I sometimes get is this. What am I doing? I'm setting myself up because you guys failed to set me up. No, I'm just kidding. but do you see how that works? I'm steering the conversation. Like I'm throwing it out there to you guys. Has anybody got anything? No. Okay. Well, hey, this is what we normally talk about, right? Like how do I do that? How do I do it? And that seems pretty natural. Like you guys don't even realize it when I say that. I'll ask buyers. Any questions? No. Great. One question I sometimes get is how much do I charge? Like I'm here to tell you that when I work for you as a buyer's agent, it's great news. I don't charge anything. I work for you for free, right? So if they don't ask you the question, I'm still naturally, through my scripts, able to steer the conversation to where I want it to go next. Well, one question I get sometimes is how much do I charge? Let's talk about that. For those of you that were with me for the buyer class, you know that's exactly what I do. Right? So we'll talk a little bit more about scripts and we'll do some great ones. Memorization steps on page 40, start that, take some time reading that, and then use this when you're trying to memorize your scripts. We're going to skip the exercise on page 41 and 42 because we're going to get into these scripts a little bit later in the course. And then, like I said before, your call time is not going to be on our time. It's going to be on your time, right? It doesn't do me any good for me to sit here and twiddle my thumbs for 20 or 30 minutes while you call when I could be sharing some nuggets with you, right? It's going to be on you. Same with your personal notes. The last skill 4 on page 48, be accountable to your big why and your monetary goals, okay? Develop a prioritized plan of action. When we look at our action plan on page 49, make a list. Prune your list, meaning consider each item and say, is this a dollar productive item? Is it part of my 20%? Is it an item that should be a priority for me? Right? Does printing new flyers and writing them out to a property make you more money? No, it absolutely does not. Does making a few more phone calls potentially make you some more money? Absolutely. So we got to start thinking that. I'm not telling you not to do that. And if you do that, you're not, you're not smart. We want to work you up to a point where you're just focusing on your dollar producing activities, right? Then prioritize them and determine which activities are important, which activities are urgent. What can wait? What has to be done now? One thing is a big book, of course, as you expect us to say. I'll talk more about that later. Again, work your way through pages 50 and 41. Treat them as an exercise when you're looking at all your activities and how you should categorize them. Live by your calendar. What I would love to see on Wednesday is for folks to bring in like a print off of your week, this week, of your calendar. Or if you're a handwritten one, bring in your handwritten calendar and just kind of show us what you're doing calendar-wise. If it can be color-coded, that's even better. You can maybe color-code one color, the items that are dollar-producing items. Maybe those are green. Maybe the other items that aren't necessarily dollar-producing but are necessary to get the job done are yellow. And maybe other items that are on your schedule are in red that you want to stop doing or move outside of your work hours. That makes sense? You don't have to. It's just a thought, right? Conversation about time blocking. If you look on page 53, block your calendar, no skipping, allow no interruptions. If you have something that's green on your calendar or something that's a dollar producing activity and you get rid of it or you schedule over it or you delete it, what should you do? It needs to get replaced somewhere on your calendar. It's a green item because if you get in the habit of deleting or just erasing green items on your calendar, what's going to happen to your business? It's going to dry up and stop, right? So your green activities, if you ever need to make a change, and it might be good reasons why, right? Something came up, my kid has something going on, it's important, I want to be there, great. Take that green dollar producing activity and guess what? That means you're doubling up on Tuesday, right? Or maybe it means you put in a little bit of extra work on Saturday, right? Protect your time, protect your time. This is what I struggle with all the time. I mean, I love you guys, I love the agents here, but what happens on my door all the time? Hey Zach, what's going on? How are you? Oh, good. How are you? If I'm not like if I ever seem mean because I'm stopping a conversation, it's usually because we've exchanged pleasantries, we've talked for 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm very politely trying to end the conversation so that number one, you can get back to your business, and number two, I can get back to doing what I need to do. Right? Because I have the same thing you guys do. The same exact thing. Daily. Okay. So some examples of how you can do some time blocking. So really look at that. Page 55 again is just a look at where we're going over the next few weeks. If you can't be at a session, that's cool. If you can just do me a favor, just email me and let me know. That's awesome. No big deal if you can't, but now just know in my head we're not necessarily waiting for you to show up. Live by your calendar. Again, your daily 10-4, we want to be doing that Monday through Saturday. Saturday, you can achieve a lot of it through an open house or two, potentially. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and your Saturdays are your mission days. That's when we want you out in the field interacting with people, getting after the business. Same with previews, and then your power sessions, again, our sessions here at Ignite are Monday, Fridays. So, any questions for me? Otherwise, some of this other stuff I'm going to build into some of the sessions we have later in the week. Page 67, if you can earmark that one, that's your action plan. So between now and our next session, polishing up your big why, finishing your monetary goal, completing the daily 10-4, start tracking your activities in your tracker on MyKW or the daily10-4.com, creating your blocked calendar, scheduling accountability with an accountability partner if you choose, scheduling script practice, and then prepping for the next class by watching videos, etc. So in your little staple handout right here, or also in here on page 68, it tells you to complete this mission prior to mission 2. So complete these things prior to mission 2. Tell the world who you are with your KW presence. It's building out, robusting your white pages. Watching some videos, communicating with customers, watching some more videos and stuff like that. So if you have questions about these as you're looking at them and you're trying to do them, just email me and let me know. We'll answer them for you. I think what I'll do is create, because we've done this in the past, is create a Facebook group. It's just us Ignite people. That way if you have questions or thoughts or ideas, we can ask and share it with each other, everybody that's doing Ignite together. And I can post reminders and stuff. So let's look at page 69 real quick. What are the 4 skills you learned today? Number 1, mindset. Number 2, goal setting. Number 3, accountability. And number 4, scripts. Mindset, goal setting, accountability, and scripts. I promise I'll finish soon. I know I've gone over 2 minutes. I apologize. 6 personal perspectives. Number 1, self-mastery. Number 2, the 80-20 principle. Number 3, moving from E to P. Number 4, being learning based. Number 5, removing your limiting beliefs. Number 6 is being accountable. What are the daily 10 for? What's number 1? I have a cheat sheet up here for you. Add 10 new contacts to your database every day. Step 2. Call 10 contacts in your database every day. Or have coffee with them. Number 3. 10 notes. 10 notes or emails every day. And then number 4, preview 10 homes a week. If you want, you can just take number 4 and double some of the numbers. An email or a note might say, hey, just thought about you. Hope all is well. Would love to reconnect. Let me know what works for you. Is that an easy email? Or hey, want to grab coffee, right? Like if you haven't talked to somebody in a while, if you just call them and say, hey, who do you know? Some people don't prefer that approach. Other people are like, I'm a high D, that's what I'm going to do. Hey, how's life? Who do you know? Right? That's cool. That might work in New York. Here you might say, hey, thought about you. It's been a while. I'd love to reconnect. Can we grab coffee sometime or whatever, right? Or hey, I'd love to reconnect. I need to get them on the phone. How's life? How are things going? That's awesome. They might ask you, what are you up to? Oh, I just recently got started in real estate. Or hey, I'm really focusing on real estate this year. I want to increase my business. Is it okay if I stay in touch with you? Is that right if I call you every so often just to see how you're doing? Maybe see if you or somebody you know can use the help. Like, is that super easy script? Like, you can take, like, people think about these phone calls. They're like, oh my God, the most intrusive, rude phone calls ever. But if you say what I just said like that, people are like, oh my God, yeah, sure. I'd love to hear from you every once in a while. Not a problem. Right? It's so easy. It's so easy. Like, really, dude, it's so easy to give you a break. Doing it is easy. Finding the time to do it consistently every day is the hard part, right? Okay. Let me ask you this. Here's a huge question, a focusing question. Fill in the blanks. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be, anybody know the next
Easier.
Easier or
Unimportant.
unnecessary? That's straight from Gary Keller's The One Thing. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? I'm going to tell you right now. Our answer right now is Okay, how many leads do you want to have in your KW Edge database by the end of Ignite? Anybody want to throw out some crazy numbers? She's doing
240.
She's a C right there. She just calculated everything. I saw her do
How
this.
many weeks is this again?
4 weeks.
240. I like your style. I like your style. Usually I would ask you guys for some ahas and stuff, but we're already pushing it for time. So, in closing, how was today's session? Good? All right, you guys wouldn't tell me anything else because I'm saying it right in front of you, right? This is just a taste. Again, today was really a mindset day. Let's focus on your big why. Let's talk goals. Let's lay a solid foundation. And over the next few weeks, you're going to do some really good in-depth skills and scripts on how you can get out there and get clients, convert them, and find more business. All right. So please do me and do yourselves a favor. Do the activities in between sessions. Track your stuff on daily10-4.com. And I know it's really difficult, but if you can commit to doing it for this 4 weeks, why do you think this program is about 4 weeks long?
Great to have it.
It helps you create a habit. So if you start tracking stuff consistently over this 4 week period, you're going to build a solid habit for you to continue to build your business. So thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
What should we do for Wednesday then? Just like review session 1?
Yeah, so review session 1, finish the stuff on your big why, finish the stuff on your monetary goal, look at your calendar and kind of come up with your ideal calendar for the work week. And then in your packet, we have this page that says mission 2. Do all the activities or watch the videos that are on here in preparation for Wednesday.
Good. I just got the best tool.
They said they will remote in appearances of Mark. I got you on. Whatever you guys prefer. Download or help you build right.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wednesday. How's it like you?
I can hear you.
You too. Thank you for having this. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Program is when you guys are finding.
I know I do. When I get
Oh, do you? So every time we post one, you get a heads up.
and every time we go live, I get an email.
Oh, good.
So,
Very good.
and when I do that, I email everybody else. So,
Awesome. Thank you very much. Who's this little guy?
That's Max.
Hey, Max, how are you?
This is Zach.
High five. Oh, I like your Stormtrooper Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
We're gonna go eat now.
Good.
We can find something.
Very good.
So you have another class and then can I have a
Yeah,
few minutes of your time?
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Just, when you're back, as soon as you're done with that one, I'll come find you.
Okay.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah. Would you have a minute to meet with the agent from,
Absolutely.
front desk?
Yeah.